Last night. Can we start over? No, we're live, aren't we? All right, well, we're not going to start over then because I was going to start over only because instead of Wednesday, it should be Wednesday. So here's what I want to tell you. Last night we were on the air live from about 11:22 to 11:25 all the way up through 11:45 talking about a potential tornado. And here's the deal. We had a tornado. It's been confirmed by the National Weather Service. I confirmed that with them this afternoon. An EF1 tornado, which, remember, the scale goes from EF0, that's the enhanced Fujita scale, goes from EF0 all the way up to EF5. So it's on the lower end of the scale, but no matter. We're still talking about winds 100 miles per hour. Now, this is on the ground for just 7 minutes, but it traveled nearly 4.5 miles. It went from Lincoln, Rhode Island, through Cumberland, Rhode Island, and then crossed the border into North Attleboro, Massachusetts, before lifting up. On its path, it knocked down a whole bunch of trees, some that landed on homes and some cars. Fortunately, no reports of any casualties as far as people getting injured, hurt from this storm. And that's really good news because this happened late at night, and that's very atypical for a tornado, especially in this part of the world. It's also, and this is pretty amazing, the third time a tornado has touched down has been confirmed in North Attleboro, or in the Attleboro area, just since last year, 3 times. Now remember, the state itself, the entire state of Massachusetts, averages 2 to 3 tornadoes in a given year. And we've seen 3 in the same area just in the last 10 months. That's astounding odds when you think about that. Now let's talk about the storm last night. I'm going to switch over to the radar. I'm going to zoom down into the area that we're talking about and go all the way back in time. Now this is last night when I came on the air, and we were talking during an 11 o'clock newscast about this intense line of storms that was coming through Connecticut, had already produced a wind gust of 77 miles per hour at Bradley International Airport. That's in northern Connecticut, north of Hartford and Windsor Locks, if you're unfamiliar with that. Then right here along 395, you see the town of Killingly? Just into the south of that ward is a village, or it's called a borough, of Danielson, Connecticut. It's part of the town of Killingly. It happens to be where I grew up. And Danielson had a wind gust of 75 miles per hour that was recorded. This line continued into Rhode Island. So I'm going to go forward just a few frames here and show you what we're talking about. When it got to about this point, this is when we came on the air because the warning was issued just about this time. And the timeline on this is definitely not what I would want you to see because that's saying 11 o'clock. But really what we're talking about is a time that was about 11:20. And here, I'll even put the time in here. So if we went every minute on the radar, now we're talking 11:21. That's the time frame we're talking about. See this notch in here? That was the first indication. And this is when the National Weather Service saw this and they could see that there was rotation on radar. Now the velocity scan showed that there were certainly winds coming in 2 different directions and wrapping around the center of this, but it was brief and really hard to pick up on radar. Guarantee most, if not all of you, would not have seen it even if you love weather and you were staring at that radar as it was coming into Rhode Island. As it came into Lincoln, you see Lincoln right there, right? That notch is coming right toward Lincoln. And I'm going to go ahead one more, let's go a couple scans ahead to 27. See the blue? That's hail. That notch has tightened up. Now you've got this curl around the side of the radar. Now you have what looks to be rotation. There's a tornado warning. That's why it was in place. That moved from Lincoln through Cumberland and then into North Attleboro. And you can see North Attleboro up there before it lifted. Now, this storm, as it came across that area, was still intense. Now, it came into the area of North Attleboro, then lifted up. Still some hail being indicated, likely just heavy rain. I don't have a lot of reports of hail with this. And that line continued across the south shore all the way to the coast. It stayed an intense line of storms, severe thunderstorms that made its way toward the coast with wind gusts that knocked down trees all along the path through towns like Bridgewater and Halifax all the way over to the coast. But it was in that area, Lincoln to North Attleboro, where a tornado has been confirmed to have touched down. So let's review that one more time in case you missed it off the top. You're just joining us. That tornado last night was an EF1, 100-mile-per-hour winds. And we saw on radar, we saw wind gusts over 90 miles per hour at least, whether it was a tornado or not. And honestly, just to say tornado becomes kind of a novelty at this point. 95 to 100-mile-per-hour winds can happen in a thunderstorm, and we've seen that happen. And they're going to do just as much damage. It's just a matter of the wind pattern around this and what happened with this storm. So 100-mile-per-hour winds in EF1. I was on the ground for 7 minutes, about 4.5 miles from Lincoln, Rhode Island to North Attleboro, Massachusetts. So a severe weather event that's been confirmed. Wanted to let you know what was going on with that. And of course, we'll be talking more about it during our newscast. And we will keep an eye out for the next event because you know there'll be more severe weather this summer. Thanks for checking in.